You're listening to WKDW Radio 97.5 and KDWRadio.com, broadcasting from the Bishop West Real Estate Mobile Tower right here in kind of overcast North Fort, Florida. Just keep it simple out there. We got a little noise background, but we're going to correct that. Ha ha. Um, so I've got a very special guest in the house, but I want to start out by saying this is a show that I really want people to take to heart, and this is her first time on the show, so we're kind of going to delve into, I hope, because I've never really talked with Crystal before, some really hot kind of topics and what she goes through and what people go through that are calling on care. So, Crystal, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here today. Thank you for having me.
So, can you give people your background and give them some insight there on what you do?
Absolutely. I am the RPE advocate, which is Rape Prevention Education Advocate. I am in charge of the social media, and I'm also advocate for anybody that walks through the door or gives us a call.
So, when it comes to advocates, what is your job, and can people volunteer to be one?
Absolutely. My job is to help victims of domestic violence and sexual assault. I'm specifically sexual assault, but we do have advocates here for domestic violence. We do counseling one-on-one. We do support groups. We go out into the community. We go to schools and jails and just community organizations and just reach out to everybody. So everybody that we try to get anybody that has had some kind of terrible impact on their life, we want to be there for them. And as far as volunteers, yes, we do offer the volunteer program. You come in, you do a lot of training, and you can be a volunteer advocate. You can answer our phones. You can help with community events. There's so much here that we need the volunteers for.
And it's just not women, correct?
Correct. We actually have 6 rooms in our shelter. We have one apartment that's specifically designed and set up for a man. So women, children, and men, we have it all here.
Well, and that's a good thing and a bad thing, all in the same breath.
It truly is. It truly is, and we're usually full. Our shelter does see a lot of people coming and going quite regularly.
So, is there a high point or a low point? When we all talk season, we kind of glanced off of that topic just when we were talking before the show. But if is there a high point or a low point for Floridians to kind of keep their eye out for even the human trafficking side, or when do you see the domestic violence kind of escalate? Is it more season or out of season or all year?
All year. It's absolutely all year long. There really is no highs and lows. It's consistent. Sadly, it's consistent. I was just doing some research, and it said during football season, domestic violence and sexual assault encounters go on the rise. So, I mean, this is actually my first year in Florida. So I know in Pennsylvania that did ring true. So I'm waiting, just writing it out to see if that actually holds true through Florida as well.
Well, that's kind of a curious thing there because I could see maybe the aggression, the aggression side of things during football season that
Yeah,
may escalate, and other things escalate too, I think.
absolutely. It's just the whole the adrenaline, the excitement, the going out, going to wherever to watch the games all in groups. It's not specifically football, it's just the season.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I noticed something the other day, and it's kind of off topic, but it'll tell you how much we've changed as a society. They used to say NFL used to have a standard that they would not go into Las Vegas because they didn't want to get mixed up in all of the gambling and be associated with that. And I was watching the game the other night, and of course, what came on is make sure you make your bets. And I'm like, okay, so we have changed as a society and adapted to money draw. So
absolutely.
I'm going to connect this a different way.
Hmm.
That you guys are really you get funding, but you have to raise your own dollar amount a lot of times to do the supplemental things, correct?
Absolutely correct. Yes.
And how do you go about that? I know you have a resale store, but you do other fundraisers too, right?
We do. We have like you said, the reused stores. We have two locations. We have one in Englewood and one in Port Charlotte, where all the donations that come in are either sold. I mean, for very pennies on the dollar. It's not much. It's a really good place to shop. You come in, you can purchase whatever, but we also give vouchers to our people in shelter where they can go in for free, get their clothing, get their household, their utensils or anything they need to get their house going again. So it's basically set up for our survivors of abuse to go in and restart. But we also have events coming up. On January 12th, we have the shedding the light on the darkness. It's a human trafficking, which we briefly touched upon. The Charlotte Harbor event and conference center, where we're going to teach people about human trafficking. We have vendors, light refreshments and more, and it's sponsored by the Charlotte County Sheriff. So that's coming.
January, right?
That is January 12th.
Because I
Yes.
think I'm going to be going live from there, doing something. I've already been in contact with them. I did a live show with them last year and interviewed at the end of the show. Is that on a Friday? Do you know?
I do not know exactly. I'd be guessing if I told you.
I'll look it up, but we'll keep going. But it was a fantastic event. You had lots of speakers, and that was a full day event. Now, this one I think you're talking about is only going to be until noon, right?
Correct. 9 to noon this year.
Yeah, it's more focused, more I think it's going to be more energized, more focused, and more result driven, right?
Absolutely. More result driven. Yes. Yes.
So,
We got to get that out there.
How hard, and we'll go back to your dates here in a second, but how hard do you find it to be to get information out to the consumer? One of the things that I always talk about is that we don't have like an anchor TV station down in this area. We're counting on outlying areas. So we count on like the community radio stations like ours to get the information out, and other big radio stations to get it out. But what do you find that drive people to get this information and maybe gravitate more towards your events?
Well, we have a really good reputation. We work our butts off to get the word out there everywhere we can. Social media, whether it's knocking on doors, going to businesses. It's just such a caring community that just word of mouth travels, and one Facebook post gets, shared, and then they share and share and share. So that's how we go about and collaborating with the local community and all the other resources out there. We all work together. Like this one's being sponsored through the sheriff's office. They're out there advertising as well. So we're all just hand in hand. We're as a community, we're all hand in hand and we're helping each other out. We're all one great big huge team.
Well, you guys really have a great reputation because we went to your C.A.R.E ball last year.
Uh-huh.
The overwhelming support that you have, and that takes years to build.
Oh my gosh, yes. And that's actually sold out for this January coming up already.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's unbelievable. But you guys, we need a bigger convention center
I know we do, yes.
just to hold your ball.
I know. It's a great event.
I know. It's fantastic. We had such a good time last year, but it really highlighted the 4 years that we've been doing this show with C.A.R.E. Is that the support from the community is really overwhelming, but I think the insight that you guys get from the people that were there is that you're not, even though I got to tell you, I think sometimes I got to feel like social workers and people in this career field feel like they're by themselves and struggling. You got to feel like you've got some momentum behind you because of the community support.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's great how they keep us going. Like we'll do the some outreaches. I go to one building, with some individuals. And when I'm coming, they come run into the door and they open the door and they're like, Miss Crystal, So it's really awesome. And that love and that excitement you just want to keep going and going and going. We want to change the world, we're doing it.
Well,
So
one victim at a time, unfortunately.
that's one victim at a time. Yep. If we can help one person, that's it.
But I'm gonna look at this from your eyes as someone who's firsthand there. Can
Okay.
you talk about what you go through with the victim? Because they're not by themselves, and I gotta tell you, there's no way. I've been in healthcare for about 27 years before becoming a realtor. There's
Uh-huh.
no way that you're doing it any different than I did, which is you're continuously listening, absorbing, and carrying the burden and trying to find solutions.
Right,
Is that
right.
what you do?
Oh my gosh, that's so what we do. We work so hard we don't judge anybody. No matter what you come in and tell us, we 100% believe you. We are there for you. We're going to hold your hand. We're going to get through everything together. When you walk through that door, you're going to know that every person in this building is here for you, and we're all there supporting you. Emotionally, we have to keep we've heard so much and seen so much. There's nothing out there that can really surprise us. So no matter what you tell us, we get it. With somebody in this office has dealt with it, if not all of it. So we really want to just make sure we help you through it. We want to listen and be kind. And we have so many resources to share with you, let alone our own resources in-house. We can help you with finding a home, finding a job. If you need to stay in shelter, we have the shelter. We have a law enforcement liaison, our advocacy. We have support groups, and we're actually just starting up an art support group where you come in, whether it be a child or an adult, and just express yourself through art, whether it's painting or designing or molding clay, whatever, something like that. We have everything here. Anything
Well,
you need, do it.
we've got a little statement here by Justin Cody Willis. He's part of When All Else Fails. And I guess, and I'm going to say this jokingly because I already know, but I guess you work with outside sources, really, other organizations, to partner up to kind of spread the cheer of care, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So I want to put a spin on it because when you do save lives, when you do make a difference, that has to give you some real, in football they would call it getting juiced. I,
Yes.
I would think you would be getting juiced up and you'd be ready to go. Um,
Absolutely, absolutely. And I see that comment there. I know what he's talking about, and I am so, so proud of Laura. She's just such an honor it's such an honor to work with her. She's amazing. So we do when we get comments like this, it's just that's what keeps us going because we basically see the bad. So it's nice to be appreciated.
what is it to work with? And I know you've done this now for a while, but what is it like to have the ability to touch other organizations and
Hmm.
pull resources in that you may not have because you kind of have to be the answer to like every solution.
Yes.
So you're trying to gather that data. You're trying to every day. I'm sure there's another person added. Hey, I can do this now.
Yeah.
Um, but those things matter to you guys when you're in a crisis situation and you're having to respond and yet come through for people.
Right, right. We have resources. I mean, I was just printing off more resources today. I want when somebody comes in and they need something that's kind of like outside of our scope a little bit, I want to, and along with everybody here, be able to say, this place can help you, because we are so close with the community that we can refer them. We can make a phone call. We all work together, but we all have our lists of probably 100 pages of places that can help you, whether house and car, bicycle, food, clothing, anything you need, diapers. If we can't do it, somebody in the community can.
Sure, sure. And coming through for the community, uh, this kind of changes the community as a whole. If we could eliminate some of these issues that we have, whether it be human trafficking, if we could cut that down in half in
Wow.
just our county,
Yeah.
and it's really just getting people to be more aware of surroundings and how to look and listen and pay
Right.
attention to. And it's here again, I go back to neighbors. When I grew up, and I've told this story on the air a couple times, but my neighbors, if we did something wrong walking down the street, my mom got the phone call.
Mm-hmm.
That was my neighborhood, so you couldn't do anything wrong.
You're
And
right.
if we did, we were like, he did it, not us. That wasn't me. You
Yeah.
know, it's kind of odd how that has kind of transitioned away from the community like we used to have. And
Mm-hmm.
now we're at a point now where we're lucky if we know two or three of our neighbors.
Isn't that the truth? Yes.
And so, from a viewpoint of an organization that has to count on people, being on guard a lot
Right.
of times. What would you suggest that people maybe start doing a little different than what they're doing today?
Well, like you said, paying attention. Paying attention is huge. If something doesn't look right, it's probably not right. Your neighbors, if you hear somebody like sounds like they're in trouble, call 911. It doesn't hurt to make that call. You don't have to give your name. Just say, can you please do a check on them and make sure they're okay because it doesn't sound right. Or I haven't seen anybody come out of the house in a couple of days. Can you do a safety check? Just be vigilant and be treat people how you want to be treated, basically. If you were in a situation and you were afraid for your life and you knew things were getting loud and somebody may hear you, and when you want somebody to call and save you, so it's just being vigilant. And if you go to the stores, as far as like the human trafficking side of it, be careful, pay attention to where you park by the cameras, park by the lights, make sure if there's something on your car window that they want you to reach and grab off, don't do it there. Drive down the road, get in your car, drive away where you know it's safe, and then get out and take that paper or something off. But just know your surroundings, and like I said, just treat people how you want to be treated, because we all have issues, we've all have situations, and we need each other.
So let's go back for a second because you just pointed something out that I really never thought of, but I always drive away. If there's something on my windshield, I just drive away. Don't even think why. And I
Yeah.
get down the road. Maybe it's not even paying attention sometimes, but I think there's a point that you were going to make with the fact that something that's as easy as something on your windshield is distracting enough to help you or make you take your attention away from your safety factors, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. Whether you just put your child in the car, and then you're going to get in yourself and you reach over to grab that piece of paper off your windshield, it's real quick and easy to go and you're going to snatch your child, and you just want to always be cautious. It's sad the way the world has become, but always be careful and always take care of yourself.
Well, and I'm going to add something to that because while it may be sad that we're changing, we can actually enhance what we're doing. I tell this story to a lot of people because my dad took me to the bar when I turned 21,
Hmm.
and he found out where I went. Okay,
Hmm.
and he said, "Now you're going to go with me tomorrow at noon." I said, "Okay." So I went in. And he goes, "Now you're going in this bar. You've never been here before. Show me what you're going to do."
Uh-huh.
And I did. And so we went in, we sat down, and he said, "All right, we're not." And the server came over and he goes, "Nope, nothing to drink yet." He goes, "Now let's go back out and do it my way." And he goes, "Did you look down at the floor at all?" And I said, "No." And he goes, "Let's go to the front door." Here's the thing. He showed me bloodstains on the floor from the gunshot the night before. He showed
Hmm.
me where to sit because he wanted me to have an exit and be able to see where things were coming at me. So he took me in and said, "Find the exit, plant yourself next to the exit, take that table." To this
Yep.
day, I still do that in restaurants.
That's
I
great.
still
Yeah.
tend to want to see what's coming at me, so I
Mhm.
have the option of leaving.
Right.
That was, I hate to say this, holy cow, I'm 59 now. That was when I was 21.
Yeah.
I still remember my dad's piece of advice, and I just told that story the other day, and now it's on air. And I tell that because it's just not about drinking. It's about your surroundings and paying attention. That if that was 21 years ago and my dad was that concerned about it then, I can't imagine what he would be saying today.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah. Your dad did a good thing there telling you that.
Yeah, and so it's I there's little things like that matter, and people listen differently. Um,
Mhm.
and I hope that somebody can take that story and the stories that you tell and the examples that you're giving.
Mhm.
So much of a need for people to kind of, and I hate the word woke. I'm not a woke user, but people do need to wake up
Yeah.
to the fact that they can better their surroundings. They don't have to think negatively. They just have to learn how to go about daily movement.
That's it. That's exactly. And then another good idea when you're, out having a drink, put a napkin or something over your drink because sometimes they might slip something in your drink. Just keep it in front of you. Keep an eye on it. And if you can't, like if you turn, put your hand over it. Put something over your drink. Just,
It's-
just for
it-
your own sake.
and it's little things like that. And for the people that are out there listening, what where do we rank in human trafficking in the nation? Where does the state of Florida rank?
Actually, I know for a fact Tampa is right up there on number two. So Florida is actually, it's really, we don't want to say it, but it is up there pretty high. I mean, we really have to be careful and we have to start really working on getting that number under control.
We don't get that number under control unless people start talking.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah,
that's
communication is key.
because you anytime, and I give these examples even today. You can do all kinds of jobs out there in this world, and you can be successful, or you can just have a job, okay,
Hmm.
where you just putter through. Well, people who have success are paying attention. They're shakers, they're movers, and they're paying attention to their surroundings. And I don't want to take this and say it the wrong way, but they take advantage of opportunity because of their energy that they have.
Right.
So energy kind of sets the tone.
Hmm.
I have to say that human trafficking and even in the age bracket, probably under 27,
Exactly.
I call them the downlookers. And
Hmm.
it's not a bad thing. It's just the way they're in now. They're so focused at looking down at their phone that everything is happening in front of them, and yet they can be taken in a hot second because they don't even know what color the car was, anything. I
Exactly.
mean, seriously, they could leave the phone with the person, take the
Hmm.
person, and they wouldn't even know how to describe their scenario.
That's so true. So true.
Now,
Yeah.
uh, that's the part that is frustrating on this side, is that we both have the same issue. I try to get the show more ratings. I try to get it out there, and it's really not a ratings popper. How do you talk about rape and prevention? How do you talk about domestic violence? And how do you talk about human trafficking, and make it where everyday consumers get that information? Because TV shows, they don't do that.
No, they
There's
don't do
no. So we've got to take advantage, and we've got to encourage people to share shows like this.
that.
If you have any questions about human trafficking, sexual abuse of any stance, how could someone find that information?
Oh, you would definitely give us a call. Definitely give us a call. And like I said, January 12th, we have that big human trafficking event coming on. But give us a call, and we're going to get
What's the
on it.
number?
our phone number here. Is it okay to get the phone numbers out?
Absolutely. We're going to give it a couple more times.
All right. Well, the Center for Abuse and Rape Emergencies, we have the Victim Service Center for Charlotte County. We have a 24-hour domestic violence hotline. It's 941 627 6000. And we also have a 24-hour sexual assault hotline. It's 941 637 0404. And you're not going to get a recording. We have live people sitting here 24 hours a day. We are open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, every day of the year. So we are always here for you. If you live in Englewood, you can definitely give us a call at 941 475 6465. If you need to talk to administration about anything, they can be reached at 941 639 5499. And we also have the TDD, the telecommunication device for the deaf. It's 1-800-955-8771. Or if you don't want to talk to us and you just want to text us, a lot of the younger kids are into the texting, and just text us. You can text us at 941-499-8534. Or you can email us www.carefl.org. Shoot us an email. We can communicate that way. And everything in this building is 100% confidential. Nothing ever leaves these doors. So you can talk to us about anything, and it's not going any further than that. So please don't be afraid.
Let's talk about that, because the fear factor of a victim, a lot of times is letting their information out so that people actually know, which actually puts more pressure on the victim. Now they don't want people to know because they got to hide from it all, right?
That's it.
So when you're talking with a victim who comes in, and whether it's in person or they pick up the phone and they're on the phone with you, how do you reassure them that you're just the friendly helper along the journey that they're about to take? I know that there's zero pressure coming from you guys, correct?
Correct.
Go ahead.
Well, most of us have been in their shoes. We get it. We're going to have an open ear. We're going to listen. We're compassionate. We're going to help you come up with a safety plan. We're going to work together to get you the services you need, and just enforce the strength that you have within you. A lot of people don't feel that they can leave a situation because financially they're dependent. Well, you know what? We can work through that. We can help you find a job. We can get you, financially dependent. I mean, they have to give a little too. You have to go put forth the effort to find the job, and just keep coming and talking to us. We're going to be there for you throughout the whole scenario, and after the fact, we're going to be there for you. So it's just having that kind ear and the compassion, because like I said before, we do get it. We get it. This is what we do. We want to help.
What would you, and this is not an easy thing for me to ask you, because I don't want to be taken wrong, but what would you tell a female right now that's listening, that why is it important to call you? Why truthfully, why? It's kind of a gut moment.
Right.
What would you tell them that would maybe inspire them to dial the phone?
I would tell them that they matter. They have the right to live the way that they want to live. They don't deserve to be going through what they're going through. I would encourage them, like you said, very strongly, to give me a call, or give anybody here a call. Everybody is fabulous, but today is today. You'll never get it back. You want to be happy. So do what you have to do to get to that point, inside and out, so you're happy. Whether you have your children, you got to be strong for your children. You got to be strong for yourself, and we'll help you gain that strength. But it's most important to take that first step and just call. That is the hardest thing to do, is to pick up that phone and call and say, hey, I need some help, or this is what I'm going through, and like I said, we'll do the safety planning and make sure that you're safe first off. If you're not safe, we're going to get you safe. So it's very, very important to be happy with who you are.
How important is it to have a game plan to exit?
it's very important to have a game plan to exit. Very, very important. One of the things that I like to strongly encourage is like your birth certificate, social security card, your children's birth certificates. Have them somewhere safe. I don't care if you put them in a Ziploc bag and bury them outside in the mulch. So when you are ready to leave, you got a lot going on. You might not think to grab those, but you can always come back when you know the house is empty. Go back and get them, or make copies that kind of look like the original. If the other partner knows that where they are, say they're locked up in the safe, get them copied in color and put them back so they look like the originals. But you take the originals and give them to a friend, give them to give them to anybody that you'll know they'll be safe. Put them in a safety deposit box. But it's very important to have all your paperwork in line, because you're going to need that down the road, and also have a plan, kind of like, what do you want out of life? What is it going to take to get there? What do I have to do? What's my next step? And some a lot of times you just don't know. We're just going to work on yourself first and get you so you're feeling strong and confident and okay, because everybody, I mean, everybody deserves to feel loved. It's so important to feel like you're wanted and needed and loved. So we want you to have an amazing life. So it's very important to have those steps and think about what you're going to do when you leave and have that plan.
Do you find that it's not always a physical abuse, that it's a mental breakdown?
Oh,
That
absolutely. Mental, verbal. Oh my gosh, it's terrible. But yeah, mental breakdown. You can only handle so much. You're only one person. Your shoulders are only so strong. Eventually they're going to give and you're going to have that breakdown. And there's so many services out there to get you built back up. And the verbal abuse, I mean, that sticks in your head, and eventually you start to feel that, no, I'm not worthy. No, I don't deserve that. Well, you know what? Yes, you do. You deserve to be happy. You deserve to be able to go out and visit your friends, or go out and go shopping, or just go to the beach. You don't deserve to be beaten down every day, verbally, physically, and all of the above, but you just deserve to be happy.
See, I've talked about this on the show before, and we're such a melting pot.
Hmm.
We have so many different cultures, even in the city of Northport, where we're vast with culture um,
Yes.
from other countries. And we're not on a small scale. We have large scale population in
Hmm.
those areas. Not that we're any different than any mix in anywhere across the board, but Northport's a good sample to talk about this. And it's. Do you find that? And I've asked this question before, and I've had a situation with a friend who went through it. That the culture differences in how one culture treats a female versus another culture, that is by far, that has to be right now, because we have such an influx coming into our country. That
Yeah,
has to be a reason a lot of times, and not the only reason, but a good reason why things elevate with the violent side of things, because in
ab-
some countries it's okay.
yeah, I know, and that's so hard. I grew up in America all my life, so I had to do a lot of research. Depending on what culture somebody's coming from, I look into it, do the background of it, do background of their religion, and how they treat their women. And sometimes I just can't. I'm just blown away at how the women are disrespected. But we just all gotta just work together. They're here now, and we would just want to make sure they're treated properly.
Well, it is, and I'm going to stay right here for a second and continue on this,
Hmm.
because you said it the right way. You
Thank
had,
you.
yeah, because you have to jump in, you have to figure things out. So if you didn't care so
Yes.
much, you wouldn't do that. You
Hmm.
all the verbiage that you're spewing would not be validated. That's the core to what you guys are about, is that you're confronted with different scenarios, and you don't know what's going to walk in your door or what's going to ring on your phone.
Never know. Never
And
know.
And if you're willing to do the research to figure out backgrounds, so you know how to deal with certain things, because I would have to say that I've never been in that situation where I've had to do the research on a loved one of mine. I have had a friend who went through it. It is not an easy thing, and there was no violence. It was just control.
Mm-hmm.
So control is also a bad thing, um, for a lot of people, and it's sometimes it's surprising when you see the person go through it, and you're actually shocked that that person actually fell into it
Yeah.
because they
Oh,
look stronger than that.
mm-hmm. I actually fell into that.
Okay.
So I mean, I know exactly where you're coming from. I used to have to start a fight and get kicked out of the house so I could go visit my mom, and then figure out how I'm going to get back in the house because I didn't know how else to live. So control is, eh, wow, it blows my mind how easily a person can be controlled without knowing, and it progresses and it gets worse and worse and worse, and you don't even realize it because it's part of what you consider the norm. It's not normal. Once you get out of that situation, you look back, it's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I was living like that. I just can't believe how much happier I am now that I'm out of that. So it's, you got to get out.
So I'm going to ask you a personal question now because
Mhm.
you've kind of thrown yourself into the mix.
I did.
Yeah. And I wasn't doing that on purpose, but I think it's a good example of how you can turn something around. And how do you feel today compared to 2 weeks before you got out of that scenario?
Whew. Wow, is my life amazing now. I can't stop. So every day I wake up and I am so unbelievably happy. I'll tell you a little story. I'm going to make it real brief, but I was, yeah, a young mother. I had my 3 children, 2, 3, and 9. Actually, 2, 4, and 9 when I left. And when I left, I was working part-time. And it was like, I just, one day, it's like, enough. I can't do this no more. And we had come home from camping, and it was a terrible camping ordeal. And when we came home, I just grabbed the kids and I left. And that's it. And thank God where I was living at the time, they had a shelter that I could stay in. Um, I had to get my life together because I had 3 little ones depending on me. So I didn't have an option. It wasn't, well, it was about me getting myself together emotionally and, getting everything into perspective. But within a week, I had a job. I had an apartment. Now I know this is back in the day. Things are way different, especially in Florida. It is so hard to find a place to live here. It's so, so hard. But I did. I did it for my kids. I did it for myself. And I'm just so grateful every day. It wasn't easy. Trust me, it wasn't easy. But every day got easier. And the more I talked about it, the easier it got. And there were, my good friends helped me through it. And my kids today, they're the reason I'm in Florida because they all chose to make this home. Once they grew up, they're like, they got a little taste of Florida and they're like, oh, I'm staying. And I'm like, well, I'm not living without my kids. I'm moving to Florida, so that bond is just, we are inseparable because we went through so much together. It's just, and we overcame. It took time, but we overcame everything together.
Well, great story. And truthfully, I'm glad. I see your energy. I see the positiveness that you're exuding right now. And I didn't know you before this conversation.
No, you didn't know.
I like your energy. I really do. And I like your passion. Those are two things that if anybody ever takes them away from you and you get them back, I don't think you'll ever let them go again.
Never, never. Every day I wake up smiling and I'm thankful for the life I have now because I know what it can be like on the other side, and I will no, it's not happening. I've
What did
become very, pardon
what
me?
did it mean for you to be able to have an exit strategy back then? How long ago was this?
Oh gosh. This was actually in 2000, so it was 22 years ago. So I'm going to say very young.
Oh, yeah.
I still like to think I'm young, even though we
But
know.
so do I, and I'm 59, so I still act 29, so I'm good.
Right, right. I'm with you. I'm 51. I'm like, oh, sometimes my daughter acts a little more mature than me because I'm like, oh, it's all good, But this to have my exit plan, um, I don't know. I just was everything. It was everything. I actually, I sat down, I guess, before we left for that weekend to go camping. I did my pros and cons. And when you see stuff written down and you look at it and you go, "Oh my gosh, is this what's going on in my life?" Reasons to stay, reasons to go. And when I saw that, I was like, "Oh, I don't know." And then I'm like, "Well, we'll make it. We'll see. Maybe this weekend will be better. It'll be better. It'll be better." No, no, it didn't get better. But when we came home, I knew. Thought about that paper again. I'm like, we gotta go. We gotta go. We deserve to be happy. So
How
that was
how many times did you write that down prior to that?
a lot. And I left a lot and I went back a lot and he left and came back. And there was
That's
a,
that's so not normal, isn't it? That's not normal. Oh, it is. It is normal, isn't it?
typically a person will leave 7 times before they stay away. And I was pretty right up there, right up there. It was coming and going for quite a while. So
That's a number that just if I had to want to break that number down, imagine if we could get that to 3.5.
yeah,
That's such a simple number.
yeah.
We're at 7 times. If we could just convince you at 3 times, or 3.5,
Mhm.
3, 4,
Yeah.
how does that change your perspective if you would have done it sooner?
Oh my gosh, my whole world would have opened up, because I don't know. It just would have been so much better, not only for myself, but for my children. Um, they wouldn't have learned, like now, they struggle with relationships, I believe, because they did see what I was going through. Not, I'm no, by no means belittling, anybody, but no child deserves to see the fighting and the arguing and, whatever else is going on. That's kind of like, even if they're little, it still sticks in their head a little bit, and it does make for some issues as they're growing up. So I think, yeah, it's best, if mom and dad can't get along together or whoever, get along apart. It's best. Just get along. The kids don't need to be in a hostile environment.
And I like what you just said because the just get along part, it's such an important component to what people forget.
Yeah.
Whether it's divorce, whether it's abuse and separation, uh, figure it out.
Hmm.
By no means are the parents the most important component to that piece. It's
Right.
kids.
Hmm.
And and the fact that you're identifying it, the fact that you are a victim, the fact that you're telling your story is more effective on this show, and it's more important for people to share, I think, than any time before on any of the other shows, because we truly, I think you're pretty much my first victim who has been willing to share,
Yeah.
and yet you work at C.A.R.E and you're trying to convince people to just pick up the phone and talk to us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I work here because of what I've been through. I mean, there's so much more, but I I understand, and I want to help people change. I want people to live a good life because it's just so great when you get away and start over. It's just, I mean, like I said, it's hard, but wow, it's amazing. It is amazing. My life's so good now.
And
So,
see,
and
go ahead, go ahead.
I want people to, if I can just make one person feel good and have a good life, that's my goal.
Isn't that a different goal than you had, say, 22 years ago?
Whew. Yeah. I didn't think I'd ever be to this side. So I just got to that breaking point and it happened and just kept going. You got to find that strength within. That's once you find that strength, don't stop. You
So,
just run with it.
so I don't want to go deep into 22 years ago, but what did you do 22 years ago for a living?
For a living, actually where I lived, it was basically powdered metal. So, when I had planned on, when I wrote the stuff down and I seen what was going on in my life, I actually, first thing I did, I had a car payment. I went before I left, traded in my car and got a car that I knew I could probably afford on my own. Okay. And then part time, what I did is I worked for a factory that was building like an event center. And I helped them build and design and set up and organize this event center. That's basically what I did. And then when we got it set up and ready to go, some of their people in the factory part were able to come over and we did all kinds of services. They had dances, they had, all kinds of events over there for the employees, but it was basically just designing and building and decorating is what I did.
And so you were working during that time frame.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I was, always factory work because
Where,
that's all we had.
where are you from?
Pennsylvania, way up north.
I knew you were somewhere up in there. I could tell by the tone. I'm
Oh,
from Columbus, Ohio originally. So we're
my husband,
not that far apart. Your
no, no. My husband worked out of Columbus, Ohio, so you were two
right
and a
there.
half hours. Yeah.
So
So
we have some of the same. I'm listening to language, and I got some of those. But it's been enjoyable
thank you.
to talk with you at a completely different level than just talking about events. I don't know that you were planning on having this discussion today, and I
No,
thank you for that.
thank you. Thank
Um,
you.
I'm if I put you in a bad spot, I didn't
No,
mean to.
not at all. Not at all. If I didn't want to talk about it, I wouldn't, but I think it's very important to talk about stuff so you can deal with it. So,
Well, I think it's more important for people to understand that there are victims that work there that understand.
absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
you're talking about you yourself. You're talking about a life changing event
Right.
that was thrust on you for a different reason.
Mm-hmm.
This you had to make choices, but you didn't see it coming because you
No,
wouldn't have done it if you saw it coming.
no.
And my question, and we've got maybe 7 minutes left, but
Okay.
back when you were younger,
Mm-hmm.
before kids, let's go back to then, and maybe there's something that somebody's listening to today that's very similar. What did you go through when you first met him, and were there signs now that you look back on and go, I didn't pay attention to that, I didn't see that coming? Did you have that scenario or not?
I did not. I did not. I think I was just mesmerized, in the beginning. The beginning, it was amazing. Everything was good. He was my high school sweetheart. So we kind of grew up together. And then he did move away for 2 years, but we stayed together. Yeah. So no, I didn't see anything until after, after probably a year into the marriage. And then it all started going to the wayside.
Okay. Was there something that happened? Was there a loss of a job or stress or
Desert Storm, actually.
okay?
So yeah, he had a lot to deal with on his plate and came back a different person.
No,
So,
uh, that's a truthful story,
hmm,
and that is not uncommon today.
not at all, not at all. But there can be other, other triggering points too, as well, from somebody else's aspect. But that that's not what I went through.
So, if you had you to talk to, what would you tell you?
Ha! Kudos.
That's my gotcha question. Because, and I'm not picking on you because I think the answer is right in front of you,
Uh-huh.
which is you would do this, you would change this like that, but you
Oh,
would do it much quicker.
I would do it so much quicker. I am grateful every day I come into work. I love my job. I I just feel like this is where I need to be and where I want to be. This is exactly what I want to do in my life. It took me a long time to get to this point, but I'm where I need to be.
So there's another organization out here. After we get off, I'll give you a phone number. the Kiwanis of Northport, they want to do some clothing drives with you.
Fabulous.
I know that you guys do the leggings. You're still
Yes.
doing the
Yes.
packaging and getting that all done. Can you talk? And we've got about 4 minutes left. Can you kind of highlight what a victim gets if they go to the hospital and why?
Absolutely. We have a hospital response team, and every time we go, we bring a care bag, and it's filled with like toothbrush, toothpaste, anything, washcloths, soaps, mouthwash. We have your socks, your underwear, all your undergarments, t-shirts, leggings, slippers or flip-flops. We prefer if we have the flip-flops, we love to give them shoes because most of them don't have the shoes with them. So everything they possibly could need, even literature, we bring them. So they have what they need to feel kind of human, I guess, when they leave. So because they've been through a lot, and we just want to make them feel comfortable. So when they leave, they look not they look and feel a little better than when they went in.
Sure, absolutely, and that's important.
Yeah. So we're always we have the quilts. The Quilter Society makes everybody a quilt, and we put those in the bags too, so they have something, just a comfort. So that's awesome that we have those to give out too.
Well, I got to tell you, I have truly enjoyed having
Thank you.
this conversation with you, and I know that this was not easy for you.
No, it's fine. Can I throw in 2 plugs for us? Do you mind?
Please.
Absolutely. Okay. October 27th or October 22nd. It's Purple Thursday. Okay, and on this day, we call upon our friends, family, and colleagues to join the movement and wear purple. It's a simple yet powerful way to raise awareness for domestic violence and shows your support. So we here at C.A.R.E invite you to take a little selfie of yourself and post it and put it on your social media platform using the hashtag Purple Thursday and tag us at C.A.R.E Charlotte County so we can see how wonderful everybody looks. And also October 17th through the 21st, we're having a sexual assault nurse examiner. It's called SANE, Adult Adolescent 40-hour training. It'll be Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 at the Shore Point Health, Punta Gorda, 809 East Marion Avenue. And you can register for that. We are in desperate need of SANE nurses. Register at www.fcasv.org. So if you're a nurse and you want to come in, I mean, it's to help the rape victims.
Is it LPN? Is it LPN and RN or just RN?
I believe RN, but I would definitely shoot an email out. And if you're an LPN, please just inquire about it because I'm not 100% sure of that.
Okay. No, I'll do a follow-up. My wife teaches the LPN program at STC.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some really good students that are coming out of there that are doing some really good things.
Good.
And it'd be interesting to see where this could go, because I think some of them would probably volunteer some.
That'd be awesome because we are in desperate need of the same nurses. So and it's SANE.
Listen, I'm married to an insane nurse, but you want a sane nurse.
That's why I spelled it out. I knew that something was coming.
I love it. I love it. Well, this is John Rawlings with Crystal from C.A.R.E. A very special show. Please share it. Please share it with your friends because it is very important to get this information out. Crystal, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Audience, thank you so much. Any comments that you have, please send them out. Some kudos to her. Mad respect for you for telling your story.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Have a great day. We'll talk to you guys soon.
You too. Bye-bye.